Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is our third video that would talk about how you will assemble your ePortfolio. In our last video, we talked about artifacts. We talked about what can be artifacts, and I shared with you that this could be a combination of your academic work, your professional work, as well as any work that might be project related that might be from your personal life. So if I gave the example of Girl Scouts, or if you work with any of your children's baseball or soccer tournaments, some of that information can easily be brought into your ePortfolio to exhibit project-like work. So what I want to talk about in this third video is your word picture. So one of your peers, or a few of you actually, mentioned that you're using the example ePortfolio to guide how you are putting together your work. And that essentially is why that example is there. It gives you something to look like, something to model after. Now, having said that it's something for you to look at and model after, it is not how you need to do your work. And what I mean by that is, so your artifacts that you upload, those are yours. They don't have to be the same ones that are in the example ePortfolio. So what I didn't mention in our previous video talking about artifacts is that, well, actually, I'm going to talk about some pitfalls in the next video. Let me now just focus on the word picture or your framing. So when you looked at the model ePortfolio, you saw that for each process, there were some introductory paragraphs. And those introductory paragraphs, as they're presented in the example, are presented to you all in your voice. So the word picture becomes how you, as the author, want the reader to know what you're thinking. And if you look at the model, you'll see that that is all done. Well, there are no quotes. So if you want to, if you choose to bring in some PMBOK and you choose to kind of copy and paste it, please know that you also have to cite anytime you copy or paste anything off the internet or out of the PMBOK. And I know you know that, but I wanted to kind of foot stomp that because the example ePortfolio does not really show a direct theoretical tie. And I'll talk about that in 1 minute. But getting back to what is up on the slide, so the word picture is your voice. It helps me to know that you know what you're doing. And it will help me be able to determine whether or not what you're presenting is presenting project management mastery. Because as we learned from our previous video about artifacts, any one artifact can be used 3 times. But the difference in how those artifacts are used, you will describe in those introductory paragraphs that are your words that you input into your ePortfolio. So in your example, most processes are represented by 2 paragraphs. One paragraph is more or less a description, and the second paragraph, I think it might even be called interpretation. So if you want to keep with 2 paragraphs, I will accept that. Now, what I would prefer is that you would look at it from 3 paragraphs. The first paragraph, I would prefer for it to be a theoretical foundation, that you use your sources, meaning your PMBOK or any of your texts or any of your other reference material, to bring into your ePortfolio, that you have a foundation of what the theorists, all of our thought leaders, have to say about project management. What I would prefer your second paragraph to be is to apply it in context. Talk about how you see the artifact that you present, how you see that. I'm going to pause this. All right, the beauty of live videoing. That was my dog. All right, so I was talking about before I paused it, the first paragraph to be a theoretical foundation where you would use the thought leaders to describe the process. You would apply the process in context, and then you would describe how either the artifact or the process in your third paragraph, helps a project manager make a decision. And you see here on the slide that under theoretical foundation, I would like to see sources in the where you apply it into context, if whether you talk about a hypothetical or an example from your professional life, and then last to bring in your opinion on how what you're both presenting as artifacts and or the process itself, how does that help a project manager make a decision? The reason that this framework is very important is it provides you the opportunity to articulate how maybe one artifact that you're going to use multiple times is beneficial to a project manager in a couple of different ways. And that's when you look at the 47 processes, some of the things that you create or use are used either a couple different places or multiple times in a sequence. And the documents themselves become progressively more elaborate, much like a risk register becomes progressively more elaborate as you perform your risk analysis. So getting back to what is it that you should do, if you follow the example of the ePortfolio in our course that has 2 paragraphs, one is a description and one is and I wish I had it open, it's an application of sorts. That is acceptable. What I would prefer is that you use these 3 paragraphs to guide your word picture. It will just better guide you to articulate the differences of the artifacts, how and why they are different. And then that last paragraph to me is very valuable, is that you will describe how whatever it is you're presenting helps project managers make a decision. All right, I am going to conclude this video and then I'm going to move on to what I think will be our third and final videos, which will be our fourth video, that will be the action steps, and then I'm going to talk about pitfalls. See you in the next video.